Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David, for your introduction. You just gave my entire speech, so thank you. I appreciate you doing that. And I want to welcome all of you here from all over the country. And I understand we actually have people from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. We want to say welcome as well. Those of you that don't live in a battleground or swing state, welcome to Virginia. I'm sure you can't turn on your TV without seeing some political combat, so I'm glad you're getting 3 days here in Virginia to find out what's going on in the presidential election, and glad you're getting 3 days in this convention center to get away from it as well, so you can talk about important things for the future. But as you've seen during these debates, the candidates talking about how do we prepare the next generation of Americans to keep us a great and vibrant country is a critical topic for the country. And so the issues that you're talking about today and tomorrow I think are vitally important for the future of our country. But we're glad to have you here. Please spend lots of money. We do have a surplus, but we're trying to bump that up a little bit, and your economic contributions will be much appreciated. David, we appreciate you choosing Virginia. I think the first time in your 21-year history that Virginia's had a chance to host the NCPN conference. We're delighted with that, and got lots of relatives myself in Texas, and it's a great state and great people, but we're delighted that you're spending this time here in Virginia. I have a lot of my team here. It kind of reminds me of school. Nobody wants to sit in the front row except for my team. I don't know why this is, but I've got a lot of them who are here and participating because they want to learn from you and maybe share a few things that we've learned as well along the way. And I know at some point the Secretary of Education, Laura Fornash, will be here, but we've got Deputy Secretary Javed Siddiqui. We've got our Deputy Secretary of Commerce and Trade, Carrie Cantrell, and we have our, I guess I can still call you new, Elizabeth, our new Director of Workforce Development for the Commonwealth, Elizabeth Creamer, here, who helped to coordinate the conference. So we're delighted to have a lot of our team and many others, I think some from the legislature and others that are here to speak about why this is important. All of you, and I think some of you have a little gray hair, there's some bright lights out there, but some of you have a little bit like me, and remember those commercials when we were growing up that said, if you want a good job, you need a good... I knew you'd get it. That's true. And it's even more true today in an increasingly specialized world, global competition from China, India, Singapore, and so forth. It is even more important that America refocuses attention on education, workforce development at every level. Okay, we spent a lot of time, and I know Deputy Secretary Cantrell would agree, or Roth, excuse me, just got married, apologize for that, is people want to know right away, well, what are you going to give me in incentives right now? But the bigger question they ask is, how are you going to keep my business vibrant and alive, and how am I going to get a long-term supply of excellent and well-trained people to be able to sustain my company and its growth? That's what they want to know. And so the education system and the workforce development programs are really the heart and soul of how you respond with that answer. And so what you're doing here through Career Pathways and doing things in your states or your territory to help promote well-trained people is critical, especially as we see, and I'm sure it's true in your states, but we've got places in our state where the economy is changing. Southern Virginia, for instance, is transitioning from a more agricultural-based economy, one that focused on furniture manufacturing and tobacco growing and textiles. Over the last 15 years, for a variety of reasons, those jobs have gone other places, and now they're more of an energy developer, a light manufacturing region in looking at renewable energy projects and so forth. So we're seeing that whole region going through in some transition. Now, what that means is we've got to do a better job with workforce development in our community colleges and our four-year universities and other programs in that region to make sure those folks have the access to the skill sets they need to be able to get those good jobs. So with that, I just want to say welcome to you because this is a vitally important topic, and it's really delightful to see nearly 1,000 people. I can't tell what those red flashing buttons are, but I'm sure it's something about the topic. What does it say? Oh, very good. Virginia's for lovers. Perfect. We're for lovers of workforce development, too, and that's why I'm here. But I do appreciate you wearing those. That is the oldest and most well-recognized motto for a state to try to identify itself, and so I hope all of you find love while you're here in Virginia. So, David, again, I appreciate the first-time appearance here in Virginia. We ask you to come back many times, and I know it's a diverse group of people. I was reading some of the backgrounds of some of the 1,000 or so attendees, and it's teachers, it's professors, it's teachers, people that teach at both community colleges and our four-year universities, counselors, career coaches, and many across the spectrum. And I think that is really tremendous that you've brought so many people here to our state. I know there's a number from our Workforce Investment Board here in Virginia and some of the others from other states that help to channel that federal money in productive ways, and I'm just really delighted to see such a diverse attendance. I understand we also have leaders from industry and Virginia companies I know like Canon and Arriva and Newport News Shipbuilding and others are here, many of whom have innovative and very much pioneering work with apprenticeship schools or other related programs to make sure that they've got an adequate supply of very talented people coming into their firms. I know that NCPN is the country's oldest organization now, just 21 years old, but it shows what's happened in these last two decades, that's dedicated to improving college and career readiness of high school students. I applaud the mission very much because we say here in Virginia, if we have not made sure that a young person graduating from high school is college ready or career ready, then we fail. We fail them, and we fail the taxpayers by investing $4, $5, $6 billion into education programs. But those people that aren't college or career ready, we've let them down. And so I think it speaks a lot about why your roles are so very important. NCPN has now become a leading source of professional development and technical assistance for all the states to use. And I know we hear a little bit about your work, David, at the National Governors Association as well, especially in your role of helping to produce good pathways to GED completion and workforce credential attainment. I want to say you've picked the right state for this conference, as you've seen from some of the things that we've talked about already, because Virginia's educators and our workforce development leaders and our business leaders really look forward to, I think, what we're going to learn from you through this conference over the next couple days. But I think we've got a couple things we can share with you. We have been competing with my good friend Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, on which of our two states is going to be the most business-friendly state in America, and CNBC and Polina and Forbes. I was number one last year. Perry beat me this year. I told him we'll beat him next year. So we have a good competition between our states of making it a great environment for business. In Virginia, we have 9 state agencies that have some responsibility for career and technical education, adult education, higher ed, or economic development or workforce training. And they have collaborated over these last years on career pathway initiatives to train an increasingly global workforce. Virginia's Career Pathways Work Group, that's led by the Virginia Community College system, which is actually this year now graduating more people than our four-year universities, I think for the first time since its founding nearly 40 years ago. And they have worked with our workforce development director, Elizabeth Creamer, who's here on the front row. And they've developed a career pathway program that's called Plugged In VA to provide greater GED preparation, occupational and technical training, career coaching, and skills development to those who don't have high school credentials, and we've seen a lot of success. When Plugged In VA students earn their GED and their industry certifications, they actually don't just graduate, but they go to job interviews with employers who are actively partnering with our regional Plugged In VA programs. Our community college system has also established something called an on-ramp program that's provided almost 1,200 unemployed adults with the funding that they need to support and earn a community college degree or certificate, and a career coach to encourage program completion and their subsequent employment. We've also taken some steps to expand our nationally recognized career coach programs, so these coaches now serve in more than 47% of all of our public high schools, and we're hoping to even do better here in the near future. This year, our community college system launched a new statewide effort that's placed 60 adult career coaches in every entrance point to Virginia's workforce system, from our community college to adult education classrooms to our one-stop centers that have dramatically increased their effectiveness over these last couple years. Just last month, the Virginia Community College System hosted the Commonwealth's first ever multi-agency career coach academy, and I appreciate Elizabeth's work on that. We're about to release our first annual Career Pathways report card. We believe accountability is important, as is data on how well we're doing. And this will help us to track progress against industry-selected indicators of workforce readiness that target middle school students through adult populations. We also launched a multi-agency database that reports to students and parents the economic value of a Virginia college degree by university and by program major. In fact, there was some major articles in our our paper of record here, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, recently about the value of a college degree, which we thought was very helpful. This year, we also directed our workforce investment boards to integrate career pathways in their regional planning. And through a grant from the Ford Foundation, we've funded pilot regional career pathways grants that have launched collaborative development of workforce pipelines beginning in high school, especially in the critical areas of manufacturing and healthcare, energy, and other related STEM disciplines. On the Virginia Peninsula, the Hampton Roads, Newport News, Hampton area, we've launched a pilot that's identified a need for more than 11,000 new workers in manufacturing over the next 5 years. And that's driven a lot by our great shipyard at Newport News Shipbuilding that is creating a lot of good news for us here in Virginia. These regional pilots bring together business and industry, community colleges, WIBs, school divisions, and others to be able to target that money and a clear path for how that money will be spent to get the greatest bang for our buck. And I think this embodies sort of a new spirit of collaboration and resource sharing between the multiple agencies and using state and federal funds to do a better job. We've made job creation and workforce development and education really the top priorities since I've become governor, and we've had some positive results. We've gone from about a 7.4% unemployment rate to 5.9% this month. We're now the lowest in the Southeast, and that's been a great source of pride for us. But we still have a long way to go. We have 230,000 Virginians still that can't find a job, and you know nationally the number's 23 million. So it tells all of us that we've got still a long way to go to make sure that everyone has access to the American dream, and I can't find a better way to do that than making sure we've got great workforce and workforce training programs. One of the things, David, you were nice enough to mention in your introduction is an initiative we took 2 years ago to dramatically expand access to higher education in Virginia, but at the same time to help provide more accountability in our institutions, lower operating costs, and ultimately try to arrest this national trend of the growth in tuition. We've doubled our tuition in the last 10 years in Virginia, and that's unacceptable. It's unsustainable, but it's reflective of the national trend. Now, part of that is a result of lower funding provided by the states, and so more pressure put on parents and students to be able to fund their education, but it also helps to deprive more people of access to education or saddles them with unacceptable debt when they get out. I think our numbers in Virginia is nearly 60% of our kids have debt when they get out, and the average debt's about $23,000. I have 5 children. I have over-exceeded that. I am driving those numbers up, I can tell you. But the point is, accessible, affordable college education, especially community college education, is very important. So our top jobs legislation has a goal that we've now enshrined in statute last year of 100,000 new degrees over the next 15 years. That'll get us from about 38% of kids in Virginia that have access to a Virginia college education to about 53 to 55% of our young people that actually can go to a Virginia college. We've created incentives and initiatives to not just go to any degree, but to really focus them on where the jobs are going to be in the future. And in Virginia, we are a very high-tech state, second highest number of tech workers to California, about 300,000+. We're a heavy manufacturing, aerospace state, and so we need more people to have degrees in those disciplines so they'll be ready for the well-paying jobs of the 21st century. So we've asked our universities to put a lot of those new degrees in science, technology, engineering, math, healthcare, business, and related disciplines so that they are ready for jobs. In fact, we specifically connected education and job creation in the statute now so that nexus is there. And our presidents have worked well with business and industry in order to try to help make this happen. We've also put money behind it, about $330 million of new money to help defray some of those tuition expenses. And I'm delighted to say tuition increases were held to 4% this year, the lowest in about 15 years. And we've still got more to go to make sure we have an affordable degree in Virginia. So I'm glad to share just a couple of thoughts with you about some of the things that we're doing here. I think all these initiatives, from career coaching to career pathways to economic development incentives to expanded higher education to more innovation in K-12, which will be a top issue for us in the legislature in January, with everything from more governor schools to college lab schools to charter schools to STEM academies. All these are going to be part of the mix that'll keep our state, and no doubt your states as well, at the forefront of workforce development and economic development. Our view is, again, career ready or college ready, or we failed you. And you ought to have access to the American dream regardless of your background, your zip code, or any of your background. You ought to be able to have an equal shot at the American dream. And that means having that good education that I think our parents talked to us about, and those commercials that are still true today had a lot to say about. So we think that this is vitally important. 1,000 people from around the country and the territories that are here, sharing your best practices from your states, learning from one another is really terrific. And that's why my team is here. We want to listen to you, share a little bit about what we've learned. But I wish you a very, very successful conference. I think that it will help all of us in our states and help America continue to be more competitive. We see what's happening in India and China with their vast populations and continuing to be on the rise, flirting a little bit more with capitalism in Asia, that we've got competition around the world. And as good as we are and as high as our GDP is, we cannot take that for granted. We cannot rest on our laurels. We've got to continue to be aggressive and innovative and finding new ways and better ways to do things. So thank you for coming to Virginia. Thank you for wearing those beautiful flashing buttons. Thank you for spending lots of money. I hope you enjoy all the political commercials. There are $2 billion being spent on this presidential campaign. I think half of it's in Virginia. I'm not sure, but you're going to get a lot of the what's going on overall in the election cycle. Both candidates will be here at least once, I think twice actually this week. So we're glad to have you in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the cradle of democracy, the mother of presidents. Enjoy your time here. God bless you. Thank you.